Amara Aguilar is an associate professor of professional practice and digital journalism at USC Annenberg School of Communication and Journalism. At USC, she developed and teaches journalism for mobile and emerging platforms and interactive media design for publishing, among other courses. She also teaches digital journalism in the graduate program. In 2015, Aguilar was named an Apple Distinguished Educator for her academic leadership, focusing on application design, multimedia journalism, and innovation in education. The California Journalism Education Coalition named her its 2014 Journalism Educator of the Year in its two-year college division. Please welcome Amara Aguilar.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm here to, let's see, let me make sure these are up. Can I get these slides to also show up here so I can see? I'm here to basically talk to you about my journey, my career, and my journey from the high school level, which I know you all can relate to all the way up to where I've come today. And what I'm going to talk to you about is a frame of mind that you want to have as you're going through high school and as you enter your college years and enter your career in the media industry. And I'm going to talk to you specifically about one project I've worked on at USC Annenberg called the JEA Project. And JEA stands for Journalism for Emerging Digital Innovation. So this whole presentation will have a Star Wars theme, so all of you Star Wars fans, I hope you will be happy. So the reason I want to talk to you about this specific project today is because I really think that we are living, and you are living, in one of the most amazing times in the history of the media industry. You guys have the opportunity to shape storytelling, and the possibilities really are endless. And a few of the things that we've done at USC is develop a team within the last year that really focuses on emerging platforms and really focuses on audience. Because we know that the way people have consumed media has changed. People aren't watching television, the cable cords are being cut. So at USC, we noticed this, and you know, the students were they're still producing an evening television broadcast, but we noticed that putting those broadcasts onto Facebook wasn't working. People weren't engaging. And you might be doing the same thing now with your news content. You might be producing news content for your student newspaper or even online, and then saying, well, let me throw that over onto social media. When really the mindset we have to have is how can we focus on how our audience is using these platforms and where our audience is. And that was the whole point of this project that we started at USC. We wanted to go to where the audience is, and we know that right now, at least, audiences are using their mobile devices. You all have your mobile device with you at all times. You're probably on it, tweeting, I hope, right now about this speech. I'm sure that many of you sleep with your mobile phone right next to you. How many of you do that? Raise your hand. I personally sleep with it under my pillow. It's usually, the first thing you check in the morning. You check it throughout the day. And it might even be the last thing you look at before you go to bed, which is very bad for you. You should not do that. But that's what happens. Right now, this is the device where you are sort of living. You're keeping in touch with people. And while you're doing that, you're also being exposed to news, information, and entertainment. It's really important that we look at where the audience is and how we're going to reach them with our content. Because you guys are producing amazing stories. And we want to make sure that those stories are reaching your audience. Because we know people are walking around bumping into things because they're on their phone. How many of you have been to lunch with your friends and this happens to you? I know I have. I just went to lunch with my mom, who's almost 60, and she does this to me. I'm like, Mom, get off your phone. What are you doing? That's where people are. And that's what we want to pay attention to at this time. This could change. And the mindset that I want to bring across to you is that as journalists, we have to be ready to evolve and to change, because the industry is, and technology is changing a lot of this for us. And that's what is going to help carry you through high school. It's going to help carry you through college, and it's going to help carry you through a great career in the media industry. Of course, we want to put storytelling and the fundamentals of journalism above all else. But always be ready to adapt and innovate, because this media landscape is yours to shape. I cannot see the slides because I'm so short. Sorry about that. Another thing that we've tried to do with JEA is create community. So we looked at creating a community in the digital space, but also in the physical space on our university. And I will show you some examples of that in a few minutes. What we did with this team too is we wanted to create content to specifically take advantage of the social media platform. So what happens, I'll give you an example. What happens when you watch a video on Facebook and you're scrolling through your feed? What happens with the video? It plays automatically, right? So our students were looking at small things like that, like what features of the platform could we really take advantage of? That autoplay feature is something that we really looked at taking advantage of, putting text over the screen. You probably see that in a lot of videos now, right? On your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed. You see, now the slides are gone. Okay, now they're back. I could see it a little bit better. Thank you. So that's one of the features we look to take advantage of. A lot of times you also might be watching video with no sound, right? Because you're scrolling through that feed. People are scanners online on social media. So the students look to take advantage of that feature as well. We also looked at working with platforms limitations. So we know the character count of Twitter or the video time limitations of Instagram. So the whole point of this project was really looking at creating native content for the platforms and not taking something that was on TV or even that was on YouTube and trying to shove it into another place. So we're really thinking about audience, we're really thinking about native content. The students also started to look at demographics of their users and habits of their users. When are they on social media? When are people engaging with content? What are they most likely to share? What is some of our most popular content? We're still looking at the tenets of storytelling, what makes a good story. Content that does really well on social media is content that really touches emotion. That hasn't changed. But it's especially important on social media because you're looking at social media most of the time on a very personal device that is very close to you, both mentally and physically. It's like right near your face. This content is right in your face. So you want to create content for that. Also, looking at your student news publications' presence on social is really, really important. How many of you have started doing stories maybe on Snapchat? Raise your hand. All right, we've got a handful. And the rest of you, how many of you just are on Snapchat anyways? Even more. So we really do want to think about, are we creating strategy for those platforms that your peers are on? Really looking at your audience, that's perfect, thank you. Really looking at your audience and where they're at is gonna be really, really important. And having a spirit of experimentation is also really, really important. Trying platforms that are really popular, is really important, but also trying new ones that you haven't really tried before. So I can even ask the audience the question, what are some of your favorite social media platforms? And you can just raise your hand, and I'll call on you and shout them out. Snapchat. Tumblr. Where else? Instagram. Reddit. So, listen. I've just heard several popular social media platforms that you're on. Do you have a news presence on those platforms? Raise your hand. Good. You're starting to do that, but we want the whole room to raise their hand after this talk so that you can really start thinking, what is my strategy on social media? Where my audience is? And if you also look at some of the demographics and analytics on those platforms, I know some of those platforms don't have a lot of analytics information, but some of them do. Facebook is still, how many of you are on Facebook? The old person social media platform, raise your hands, happens to be my favorite. It's still the number one social media platform, last I checked, and that is something you have to be paying attention to. It has a lot of great analytics information that you can glean from. And, you know, other applications like Snapchat, how can you take advantage of that platform and reach your audience? Also, again, looking at things like time. You know, even looking at the content you're posting and the times that people are sharing that content or commenting. I want you guys to really think about social media beyond teasing and promoting stories, because I know that's what some of you use social media for. Go to my website and check out this story, right? That's good that you're doing that. But social media is really a place where you can also have native content live. You don't necessarily have to take someone back to your website. You can inform them right on the platform without taking them away from that platform. And you know, when you guys are in your favorite social media platforms, how many times do you really want to leave it? Unless something is really good, then you might pop it open in your browser. But normally, you're there for a reason. It might be to chat, it might be to connect, it might be to follow up with your friends, but you want to stay there. And if you want to stay there, news organizations and student publications, we want to put information there that's useful to our readers. Put great stories where they are. So let's analyze this a little bit more. I'm going to ask you, maybe some people in the front row can answer me, what is the last thing you shared on social media? It might have been Twitter, it might have been Facebook, Instagram. What's the last thing you shared? A picture of Los Angeles. Okay, what else? What? Someone posted a GoFundMe account. You guys will probably notice, you're all laughing because you're thinking about the last thing you shared. It was probably something funny, right? It maybe had something to do with something surprising, something practical. I know I like to share very cute things on social media. I love animals. Animals, you know, you've heard that term. Fluffy cats do very well on social media. And stories about animals do well, animals and babies, and food. You may also share things that you're particularly interested in. This is one story I shared. It was an article in the LA Times about a local youth who was successful on his exams, and I love to see stuff like that. As an educator, that's something I want to share with other people. So it might be something practical or something surprising that you share. And then there's like really weird things that you might share. This is one, you know, I see weird stuff on social all the time, and that weird stuff does really, really well. And then I mentioned food. How many of you share the food stuff? Raise your hand. Food is, at least one of the top 3 performers on social media. So could you take advantage? These are actually, the food videos are really easy to produce. And I'm not gonna, stand up here and say all you should produce is food videos, but you should think about it because it's gonna get your audience to your page to look at your food videos and the other stuff that you're producing on social media. The news content you're producing on social media, the entertainment content you're producing on social media, the sports content you're producing on social media. You wanna build that audience. People also gravitate on social towards strong visuals. Posts with visuals are really captivating to people and really shareable. So if you look at a platform like Instagram, which I know many of you are on, based on what the statistics are showing us, and if I asked you to raise your hand and tell me if you're on Instagram, I would venture to say many people in this room would say they are on Instagram. Visuals do really, really well. National Geographic is a top performer on Instagram. And we all know what National Geographic is known for, right? It doesn't hurt that they're pictures of animals, because again, animals do very well on social, but these are beautiful, beautiful images on Instagram. I also want you to notice, though, with what National Geographic is doing on Instagram and also with what Annenberg Media is doing on Instagram, look at the caption space. The caption space on Instagram is not limited like Twitter to 140 characters. You have the opportunity to show off your writing skills and tell a narrative with these beautiful images. Because remember, all of this comes back to storytelling. It comes back to strong characters, emotions, and all of these fundamentals of journalism that you're learning in school. So we can see, really producing for that medium, the visuals are important, the narratives are important, and that's one of the things that has made National Geographic so popular on Instagram. Another thing that is really popular, if you haven't got into producing videos for social, videos do very, very well on social. We've seen this at Annenberg Media. Video is a big part of what the students produce for their social media platforms. You can see some of the statistics here. I won't read them to you since you can read them and they're behind me, but you can see how popular video is on Instagram. And people always, when they think about video on social media, they do think about viral videos. And every time I give a talk about this, about social or about digital journalism, people are like, how do you make a viral video? And it's kind of like, if I knew that, I would probably be a millionaire, because that's like the big question that everyone's asking. But I will say, if you produce good content, you're going to get your audience. If you produce engaging content, informative content, you're going to get an audience. Also, what's really important is looking at audience habits as you are looking at social. So you can see from some of the numbers behind me, women agree that they like to share things that are kind of more informative. You got the highlighted word intelligent there. Men like to share content that's funny. I see some of the women laughing a little bit. And millennials like to share things that are funny in general. So are you thinking about that when you're uploading content? Older people want, to share things that tell a story. So also looking at how you're serving your audience on social is really important. Are you engaging them? Are you giving them something that's practical? Are you giving them something that's useful? And this is what you might see a lot in some of your social media feeds, right? How to decorate your dorm room, how to organize your closet, how to fix the engine in your car, right? All of those how-to practical things are very shareable on social media. I mean, and you see that in journalism, especially with outlets like BuzzFeed, but you also now see it with brands. I've recently had Target come up in my feed, and Target, as you know, you walk in there for one thing and you end up buying like 1 million. But on my social media feed, Target is coming up, and it's showing you things like how to organize your closet, of course with all the Target products. But you really have brands also looking at social media and engaging audiences. So brands and journalists with the same goal. Anything that people can discover with your content is also really important. Experiences that you can share, and this is where your storytelling and journalism come in, with both discovery and experiences that you can share. And of course, as I mentioned, usefulness. How is this practical to your audience? So some lessons learned. So we built this team at USC Annenberg with the Annenberg Media Center. There was several faculty involved in growing this team. It's basically a team of students. As I said, they're now called the JEA team. They produce for Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, emerging platforms. They do things like 360 video. And we looked at the first year at some of their most popular content. Specifically, with this, I'm going to show you popular videos. And we did have one video go viral last semester, and it got over 16 million views, which for us is like huge, and that was on Facebook. So that was the most popular, but you can see the second most popular video from last year was a video called Halloween Trivia, and the students dressed up, the reporter dressed up in a costume and found other people on Halloween dressed up in a costume and basically asked them historical questions about Halloween. So it was kind of like a man on the street type thing, but it was in video form, and it also conveyed practical historical information about Halloween. So it's informing you as well. But what was most interesting to me is that the third most popular video from last year was, what is the difference between a primary and a caucus? So I thought it was funny, like the first two videos, yes, they're entertaining, yes, they were a lighter topic, but that third video, really an important subject for people interested in elections. And I think that's what's so interesting about what our students are producing at Annenberg Media. It's really a mix of content for social media. We're kind of getting them, to our content with some of this fun, off-the-cuff content, but we're also producing a lot of news content and a lot of really practical, informative content. So I want to play for you, I'm going to play for you a couple videos before I wrap up the presentation, and I do apologize for some of the technical difficulties, but this should work. This was the one video that went viral and got millions and millions and millions of views. So I'm going to play that for you. It's about 3 to 4 minutes, I think.
Blouse. 1, 2, 3. Blusa. So similar.
That was cool.
Pants. 1, 2, 3.
Pantalones. How do you say it?
Pantalon.
Pantalon. That's cool. Pantalones.
Shirt. 1, 2, 3.
Camisa.
Oh, you're just saying an A after, so it's like almost the same.
Yeah, camisa. Camis?
Yeah. Sugar. 1, 2, 3.
Azúcar. Oh, that was cool. Azúcar. I basically speak Arabic.
Guitar. 1, 2, 3.
Guitarra.
It's the same.
Say it.
Guitarra. Cooking oil. 1, 2, 3.
Aceite. Zit?
Yeah. Like this.
Aceite. Zit. Yeah. Yeah.
Scorpion. 1, 2, 3.
Alacran.
It's like sort of similar.
Say it.
Alacran.
Alacran.
Yeah.
Ours has more of an N at the end.
Yeah. Until. 1, 2, 3. Hatta.
Hasta.
You just have an N in there.
Yes. Hasta.
Hatta.
That's awesome.
Music. 1, 2, 3. Música.
Música.
Hey.
That's the same thing. That one's like the one.
Yeah,
that
that's the one that's like the same.
equal.
Thank you. Really proud of the students for that video. I'm really proud of them because they really took a chance with this type of video. It's not really a traditional like news video that you would see, but it was fun. It had practical information in it, and it really hit a chord with people, I think, culturally and even globally. It just got shared tons of times. It got a lot of engagement. What I also appreciate about it is the sound is good, the technical quality is good, the framing of the students was done really, really well. It's shot on a tripod. All of the tenets, again, of good video journalism are included in some of these videos that I'm going to show you. They're very highly produced. You know, just because something is for social doesn't mean you can kind of just throw it together. They're very highly produced so that the audience can really focus on the characters and the content. And I think that's really, really important. That being said, some of the content is shot with DSLRs and edited in Premiere, but there is other content that's shot with an iPhone and kind of posted a lot quicker. So don't feel like you have to have all of this expensive equipment to produce some of this content. You just have to have a good story and a good concept and execute it in a way that's appropriate for your audience. I wanted to show you one more video because I don't want you to walk away thinking, oh, I'm going to do all these entertainment videos, even though that's really fun. Check out, I think this is less than 1 minute, breaking news story. Students put this together to send out on Facebook. No sound, because remember, when you're scrolling through and you've got that autoplay feature, you might not hear sound. So a few things you can see, I'll kind of give
What
you
initially
some...
got our attention were the sirens. And we looked out our window, we were watching TV, saw a lot of police cars and a couple of ambulances and fire trucks pull up. Looked outside and they immediately blocked off the street. And then some private investigator cars came through.
This evening at about 4:45 in the afternoon, Southwest area officers conducted a traffic stop on Magnolia, just north of 27th Street. The sole occupant of that vehicle exited the vehicle, and there was an altercation with that individual and the two officers. That individual was armed with a knife, and there was an officer-involved shooting. That individual was struck by gunfire and transported to a local hospital where he is in critical condition. He is currently in surgery. Both of our officers were also transported to local hospitals. They do not have life-threatening injuries, but they are receiving medical treatment, and hopefully we'll have further on that as the evening progresses. So
I wanted to show you this just to show you, a lot of what the students do for social is also breaking news and news-oriented a lot on politics. But you could see, they got multiple sources in this really short video. They got your 5 W's in this really short video. They got sound bites in there, and good context in a quick, easily digestible format for the user. So I was really proud of what they're doing on all of these kind of different genres and verticals. And you could see here some different examples of the variety of content the students are producing. This is from their Facebook page, Annenberg Media on Facebook. You should totally like the page because they produce a lot of great content specifically to help engage young people in some of these topics. 5 pranks to play on your friends. What it's like being Muslim in college. Diversity has been a huge issue at our university and nationally and globally. Porter Ranch leak. Zika virus, everything you need to know about that. So a really good variety again. of kind of, off-the-cuff, entertaining content, but also news content, informative content, timely content, practical, useful, funny, right? All of those kind of emotions that we talked about appeal to people on social media. The students also did a community engagement project. So they produced content, they produced a Facebook page called Diversity with the capital SC in the middle. And they started to interview different people on campus and ask them the same 3 questions about diversity. They produced content, it's going on the 2nd semester that they've worked on this campaign specifically on Facebook. We decided to do it on Facebook because we really wanted people to have conversations and be able to contribute. So there's photography on here, there's quotes on here from people, there's short mini docs on here for social media, there's other videos on here related to the topic. And then what was really neat, at the end of last semester, the students actually organized an in-person on-campus event, a physical event, where anyone on campus could come, and they gave them 2 blank pieces of paper. One, they were to write down problems with diversity on campus, and the other, they were to write down solutions to diversity issues on campus. And they interviewed students, they produced content from that, but I thought it was really great that the students were really trying to engage both in the digital space and in the physical space of their direct community. And you can do that as well. You can do that on your campus and in your community to get people talking about these important issues. They also did a campaign, we started this hashtag Girls in Sports to raise awareness of female athletes. They don't always get the press they deserve at universities and even high schools. That one didn't do as well for us, but we're working on the strategy for that. And I think that just shows not everything you try is going to go viral. Not everything that you try is going to be super successful. But you learn from those things and move forward. And then the students learned practical tips. Again, I told you, they made some adjustments for platform. Here are some examples they found from Facebook. Videos with the stinger at the end had a higher retention rate. They had that, that Annenberg Media logo that you saw at the end of the videos. They had that at the beginning. And it's like when you're scrolling through and you just see a logo, you don't know what that's really about. So they moved that to the end. And they started, with more interesting content. At the same time, they would save, I don't know if you noticed with the breaking news video, the audio didn't start till a few seconds in, because we know you're probably going to listen to the first few seconds without audio. So little things like that, they noticed. They also noticed that social media is global. It has the potential to reach a global audience. It has a potential to reach beyond their specific campus. So using non-USC specific language, they found that the content did better because it related to people. And it's not just limited to people at college students at USC. It's relating to a specific audience, a demographic. And these were some of the results from last year. 200 plus minutes of content, 30 million plus people reached, partly because of the viral video, but hey, we'll take it. And a 30,000 increase in followers. And these numbers are just up until January. The student team we're really proud of in our media center has produced, I would say, double the content they did last year, in one semester. So we launched this desk. I worked with a student to help launch this desk, and then we had another professor come in and collaborate with us. It was built on collaboration. So collaboration is really important for you all in the newsroom, at the high school level, at the college level. Collaboration is important. We wanted to just try something. And when you try something, we call it beta. We called it a beta desk. Let's beta this. And we tried it. It was successful. It got a huge following, created a class for it. That class filled this semester. There was standing room only in the class. It's one of the most popular units in the Annenberg Media Center. So what's the point of all of this? The point of all of this is a few things. Focus on good content, good storytelling, good journalism. I want to make sure I don't forget anything. Engage your audience. Go to where your audience is. Look at their habits. Try new things. Produce for the platform and for the audience. And if you're thinking about college, JEDI is just one project and one class that we're working on at USC. We've just revamped our undergraduate curriculum. We have classes in data visualization, virtual reality, writing and reporting across platforms. Not just writing for print, not just producing for television, producing content across platforms. That's really, really important. And I don't want you to think that you have to go to a big university to do these things. You don't have to. I got into journalism in high school just like you. In fact, I was at one of these conventions so many years ago. One of these very conventions, my high school advisor brought me to one of these conventions. He's the one that got me really into journalism. He was an English teacher at my high school. He's like, Amara, you write well, you should really be on the newspaper. I'm sure that's happened to many of you. So he got me in, he got me hooked to journalism. I went to a community college and a Cal State University for my bachelor's and master's degree, and then I ended up at USC. So you don't have to go to a big university, but if you have the opportunity, we would love to have you at USC. So we have some great classes, some great electives, and I want to close out with a couple things, and this is one final video just to give you a little bit of an idea and leave you kind of with the spirit of what JEDI is, because that's really what I would like you to take away from this talk.
I knew it was like a quirky video and kind of a wild card video. I remember it had like 3,000 views by the end of the first day of publishing. That was normal for us. And then Friday, it had gone up to 7,000. I was like, okay, I could see it getting to 20,000 by the end of the day. And then by that night, it had reached 2 million, and it was just crazy. All these media outlets reach out to us, Huffington Post, Fusion. Not just audiences were interested, but actual publishers were interested. Like, wow, how did this video do so well? And who's Annenberg Media, So it's kind of cool to have it put us on the map.
Our class is called Journalism for Mobile and Emerging Platforms. We decided to call it the JEDI Desk, which stands for Journalism and Emerging Digital Innovation. Fernando has been instrumental in making this desk what it is. We nicknamed him the JEDI Master because he has just really taken a leadership role with this desk, and he inspires so many people.
The collaboration between myself and Amara began last semester. In discussions with Amara, we agreed that there was room to grow on additional platforms as social media became increasingly important. We wanted to look at ways to support the students in producing content specifically for social media.
We didn't set out to create a viral video. We set out to create good content that reaches our audience. It was an amazing experience for the students because they did grow their audience.
All of a sudden, we had a very, very diverse audience. At one point, we had more followers in Mexico City than in Los Angeles, which was very different for us.
It proves that the fundamentals are important. A good idea, well executed, high production values. It's not always about the number of views. I'm also really proud of the students for some of the challenging projects that they took on. I think it's awesome that we got something with a lot of views, but I also think it's just terrific that we're looking at ways to tell important stories and interesting stories using these different platforms.
I'm just really grateful to Annenberg because all of this experimentation would not have been possible without the infrastructure we have set in place. We just have a crazy amount of resources, a crazy amount of talented faculty that are willing to just step in and help you. I mean, I knew nothing about social, mobile native content a year ago even, and now I'd like to think that I know way more, and I'm still learning for sure, but it's like awesome to have that space where I can come in 20 hours a week and just devote my time to that.
Super proud of Fernando. He graduated in December and got multiple, news companies were literally fighting over him. But he got multiple job offers, and he's now with Circa. And just to wrap up, again, tell as many stories as you can, work across platforms, embrace social media and engage your audience, work for the public good. I truly believe journalism is a community service, and you have the power to get your voice and your stories out there, so use that responsibly. Network, and I have a favor to ask everyone before I wrap up, because again, I started my career as a high school journalist, and I absolutely value that time. And I still see my high school advisor every year. I saw him a couple months ago at a local Journalism Education Association conference. We interview the scholarship recipients together every year. We try to do it. And I think high school advisors and the people that mentor you are so important. And I would like everyone to stand up and give them a round of applause. So again, thank you for having me. Remember, focus on good storytelling, and may the audience be with you. And it looks like we are going to take some questions.
We have some time for Q&A. If you have a question for Amara, please just raise your hand and I'll get to as many of you as possible. I do want to start off with a question. You talked about the importance of being professional with social media, but with so many social media outlets out there, a lot of it comes down to just time. So how do student media outlets choose which social media outlets they should be on, or which ones should they be on?
Well, I think, again, I mean, we have to keep up with what's happening in the media industry, and we have to look at, we have a few things we have to do as journalists. We have to look at where people are now. And, you know, at Annenberg Media, we've tried to specifically look at the top social media outlets people are on now, and also what we see emerging. And you could see from some of the examples I showed you, you know, Facebook is a huge, huge push. We've got a lot of content on Facebook. It's a huge part of our strategy, but we're looking at really diversifying even more. Specifically, Instagram is one that we've tried to grow, and Snapchat is one that's high on our list. But we're also looking at, you know, the whole spirit of JEA is emerging technology as well. So we're looking at starting, you know, things like playing around with chat bots and other things, 360 video, virtual reality. So we always are making sure that we're trying to keep up with what's happening now, but also leading the way to what's next.
I'm Ryan Moore from the Foil Dragon Press from Ventura, California. And you were talking about data analysis and using data from Facebook to properly market to your audience. My question is, at what point in time does using data for proper marketing become Orwellian and an invasion of people's privacy?
Well, the analytics you get, I mean, there aren't specific names attached to them, so that data is kept a little bit more generic. So I don't think that's as much of an issue, but I do think it's really important to keep analytics in perspective, because you want to use analytics to inform you, but not base your entire strategy on them, right? Because you have to look at the goals of your news organization and what you want to accomplish with your audience. So I think it's really good. Keep, you know, they are really important, but use those analytics to inform your strategy.
Hi, I'm Grant. Whoa, that's loud. I'm Grant Spicer from Coppell, Texas, which is an area near Dallas, North Texas, and I represent the Sidekick. And I can definitely understand the push towards social media and media content for any generation. However, with school administrations, there's sort of a sense of, you know, social media is not the center of everything. You shouldn't focus on it. You should focus on school. yet we have many people saying you should focus on social media, it's the future of everything. So kind of a two-part question. One, do you think there is a sense of irony in that? And two, how can we overcome that sense of irony?
I didn't hear the second question. What was the second question?
How can we overcome that sense of irony?
Okay, got it. Yeah, there is a sense of irony in those things that you said. I think it's always about educating your administrators and being proactive. I know it can be challenging, but there's also guidelines for professionals and students for social media. NPR has a really great social media ethics guide. The Online News Association is just coming out with social media ethics. So we do have guidelines there in place to guide us as journalists. I mean, and it's not like, you know, that would be the only thing that you look at, but you definitely want to use those to frame your strategy. And also look at what you want to accomplish as a news organization and how your use of social media fits into that strategy. I think these battles are going to come up as technology continues to evolve. You know, I remember the battles, the small battles we had at my high school, and the technology wasn't that advanced. So those are kind of, I think that those are always going to be there, whether they're related to technology or not. It's about just education, being proactive, and telling good stories and being responsible with the storytelling.
Hi. Hello. Over here. Over here.
Sorry.
So I'm Kylie Charney Harrington. I'm from Olympia, Washington, the Blazer, and I'm actually going to be a freshman at Annenberg in the fall. Woo! So my question is, like, where is the line between, like, successful mobile content and clickbait?
Again, you know, whenever the students are producing something, I think the viral video is a good example of this. They were not looking to make a viral video. That is never our goal as journalists. I want to make a viral video and make tons of money. I mean, you might want to make a lot of money, but the viral video part, that was never the students' goal. They want to tell good stories and they wanted to try new things. So we actually never focus on how many clicks is this going to get. I mean, we do want people to engage and share in a meaningful way, because engaging, sharing, commenting, that means people are having a dialogue and having a discussion about the content, and that's what we want. But as far as, you know, what we're teaching students at Annenberg Media and the way students look at it and faculty advisors, we want to produce good stories and good content. We are not concerned with number of clicks, although it's really nice, like I said, when your video goes viral.
Okay, it's pretty loud. Hello, my name is Ricardo Hinojosa. I'm from El Paso, Texas, and I go to Bel Air High School. I'm a freshman there. I just want to ask a really important question, because we're all here because of journalism today, because we all really like it and we all love it. But what do we do to get more people involved in yearbook and all the other things when they just don't seem motivated?
I think that one thing that connects us all as humans is our emotions and is storytelling. So if there are ways to get people to share their own stories or collaborate in telling other people's stories, I think that's a great way to connect people. And also, you know, we've been talking about social media this afternoon. I mean, that might be another way that you kind of try to reach those people. You know, maybe they're a little bit more shy, but they're more likely to like you on social media or connect with your organization on social. And then they might see your content and be interested. So I think, you know, storytelling connects us all, those emotions connect us all. So that's one thing you can try to focus on.
Hi. Oh, sorry. I'm Rachel from Cabo Student Media, the Sidekick in Coppell, Texas. And I was wondering to what extent you think that the high school newsroom is going to change with this emergence of social media and like positions and things like that. How can we expect either the writers and the people that produce content to start moving to the digital platform or to the social media platforms, or to create new positions that do that specifically?
I think that it starts with building culture within your newsroom. For example, start with reporters. Are they thinking about social when they go out to cover a story, even just Instagram? You don't have to go home and create this entire social media strategy and have 10,000 people on a desk. You start small and set small goals. And I think it's about building culture and building it slowly but manageably. So having reporters think, okay, maybe they're gonna tweet or post on Facebook with their story, or maybe it's just one photo on Instagram and that's how you're gonna start. Or maybe it's one platform you look at and say, you know what, I really want my staff to try out telling stories on Snapchat. So set small goals and then work your way up. I talked to one high school last semester and they were completely print. It was in LA, in South LA. They were completely print focused and they were just starting an online site, and then I talked to them about social, and by the next semester they were already starting to do stuff on Snapchat. It just slowly, but the important thing is they were thinking about it. So just set mini goals, take baby steps, and start slow, and I think that you can do it.
Hi, my name is Annabelle Thorpe. I go to Argyle High School, which is right out of Dallas, Texas. And my question was, a lot of social media has to also do with branding and how you represent yourself or the publication you are with. So I kind of wanted to know what you think about branding, how to use it, and just the benefits it has.
That's a great question, because as you all enter the job market, or even as you're applying for college, as you know, what many people do when they find out about you is they Google you, right? And what's gonna come up when people Google you? We actually have a class at Annenberg called Your Digital Footprint and Developing Your Digital Footprint. And it's looking at, hey, what are people finding when they look at you in the digital space? And I have had employers call me and say, hey, I'm interested in this student. Make sure their social media pages are clean. And it's like, whoa, okay. People are gonna look at those things. So what you put out in the Twitterverse is gonna be out there forever, even if you kind of delete it. People can find stuff. So it's really important. I know, you're young and you kind of want to document everything you do and post everything that's happening to you. And I understand that, but you also want to think about that bigger picture, because people are going to look for that stuff and they will find things even if you delete them. So making sure, you're having fun with social, you're being yourself, but also keeping in mind, hey, would I want an employer to see this? Would I want a college admissions committee to see this? I mean, you have to think about that stuff in this day and age.
Hi, my name is Harper Carlton from DuPont Manual High School in Louisville, Kentucky. And I was just wondering, after something goes viral, what are some tactics to draw people back to your site to view more content?
That's a great question. And I'll give you an example with the video that went viral here. Of course, I've said this all along, keep producing good content. It was so interesting, Fernando talked about it in the video, that we had a larger percentage in Mexico of our audience than we had thought before. So thinking about strategy, like, okay, what can we produce to attract to that audience? And we're actually working on developing an arm of JEA that produces for the Hispanic community, because we have such a large Hispanic community in LA, and we just really feel that a lot of people can relate to that type of content. So producing good content and then keeping an eye on who your audience is really important.
Hi, I'm Anika, and I go to the Archer School, and I'm part of the Oracle. Yeah. And we're in Los Angeles, California, and we kind of had a question. So we have a strong social media presence, but we want to start getting into doing more video footage on YouTube, and we go to it's not a very big high school. So we're wondering, do you have any recommendations on how to kind of get out there on YouTube and do some videos?
Right. This is so interesting. My class actually went on a field trip to YouTube Space LA this semester, because what we had been doing, we've been producing a lot of video for Facebook, and we were kind of just rolling those over to YouTube. But again, after that visit, and we had some YouTube speakers in the class, I was like, we really need to pay more attention to YouTube and really need to look at what specifically are we going to build for that platform? Because we had been doing it with all of the others, and YouTube was kind of one that we ignored. So I think really looking at what's performing well on that platform, techniques that people are using, and again, just keeping in mind the features and the limitations of that platform, and really looking at how you can develop that. We're in this process of doing the very same thing.
Hello, my name is Justice Bennett from the Blackfire Chronicle outside of Philadelphia. And I was wondering how you keep long-form or investigative journalism sort of alive in this media where it's all short snippets.
That's a great question, and I think that's really important to me. I love long form, I love investigative, and we actually have some investigative shows that are produced at Annenberg, some broadcast shows for the web, actually, and it's so interesting because the students in that class who are producing long-form video, they were able to take those stories and sort of repackage them for social. And we are hoping, we're still kind of in this process, but we are hoping that's going to get more people to the longer form piece. Like, we're kind of give them a taste of it, introduce them to the subject, get them interested, and then hopefully get them over to the longer form piece. Good question.
Can we have one more round of applause for Amara Aguilar?
Oh, thank you.